Hello, and welcome to the 159th episode of Spooky Reviews from Spooky Ventures. I'm Gary Hill, and I'm both your host and reviewer. This time around, I'm looking at a Blu-ray release from Full Moon called Quadrant. Now, before we actually get to this review, I'm going to need to talk about a couple of things here. First, I've been a big fan of Full Moon for decades. Now, because of something troubling, that devotion might be at the end, or at least near to it. That troubling development is the use of AI in filmmaking. This movie makes use of an AI artist, so I need to talk about my stance on AI. I generally refuse to give any publicity to anything that utilizes AI. There are a number of reasons for that. Now, in the past, I've had people come after me with comments because they are big proponents of AI whenever I have attacked AI online. Here's the thing, your comments will not change my opinion. I've put a lot of thought into it, and there's no room for wiggle room here. There are a number of issues with AI. For one thing, it's incredibly power hungry. A recent study suggests that the proliferation of AI means that within 10 years, the increasing electricity needs to operate AI will outgrow our ability to generate power. That means if that study is correct, and it took into account any possible growth in capacity to generate electricity, that in 2035 we will have to start cutting out other electricity usage just to keep AI fed. That's a horrible future if it comes true. Now there's the issue of AI essentially copying the work of real human artists without permission. People say, well, humans copy other humans. Well, that's absolutely true. All art builds on the art that came before it. The thing is, humans bring their own identity to that process. AI does not have an identity to add to it. And AI is much better at just plain copying than humans can be. The result makes it closer to a soulless plagiarism than actual influence. That's another big problem. Now, those are just a couple of the issues. I'm not going to get into others here because that's not the point of this review. But it was important to talk about the background before I get into the review. Now, in terms of full disclosure, a few years ago I did use AI to design parts of a couple of book covers. I also used it for some Spooky Ventures merchandise. This was before I understood all the negative implications involved. While those items are going to stay out there, I have not used AI since, and I never will use it again. Not only have I learned more about the issues with AI in the last few years, the general public has also become more aware. The artistic community in general has been taking a more unified stance against AI. Now, it's not a unanimous thing, but it is very prevalent. It's also not some kind of shadow movement, but something that's right out there in the spotlight. The use of AI has been a big part of contract negotiations in filmmaking unions. So it seems hard to believe that Charles Band and Full Moon don't know about these things. That, to me, says that they are doing a terrible job of reading the room. Now, you might have a couple questions. First, you might wonder how big a deal this is since we're talking about just one movie. You might also wonder why I'm covering this if I avoid promoting AI content. Well, I'll get to those questions one at a time. Yes, the AI usage when applied to this film is an isolated thing. However, in a bonus feature that introduces the imprint that released this movie, Pulp Noir, Charles Band mentions AI specifically. That doesn't explicitly indicate that it's something they will be doing more of, but it certainly does imply that. I will wait to see what happens, but if Full Moon and Band lean more heavily into AI usage, I'm done with them. I won't support them going forward if that's what they do. I mean, they've given us a lot of great stuff over the years. It's been a good run, but that'll be it for me. So why did I cover this? Well, first, it gave me the opportunity to talk about AI and the Spooky Ventures stance and my stance on it. Secondly, in this one movie, it makes sense to use it because of the storyline. So after thinking about it for a while, I decided this one time to cover a film that makes use of AI in the creative process. With all of that out of the way, let's get to the movie. This film centers around a computer interface that allows people to confront their fears by going into an AI-created world to fight them. See, I told you that the AI actually fits the storyline. One thing I really found rather sad, though, is that the AI art stuff really looks very much like the old school full moon fantasy science fiction type of effects and backdrops. The reason that's sad is that it means that they could have just done it without AI, since that's how they would have done it in the past, and it looks very similar. Back to the story, but while most people go into this thing to find a way to overcome their fears, the main character in this film does so to experience the violence through her fascination with Jack the Ripper. As mentioned in the script, she uses it as almost an amusement park. Now, there are several other plot lines included here. For instance, she befriends one of the patients and they develop an unusual symbiotic relationship. The husband and wife duo responsible for the whole system, called Quadrant, have some history with it that is only hinted at until near the end of the movie. All in all, this does feel like some of the classic full moon films in its usage of real and simulated worlds colliding. It does a good job of combining science fiction, horror, and more to create a compelling tale. I absolutely love the way the lead character Erin looks when she is done up as her Jack the Ripper persona. The image is like a classic horror icon. They did such a good job with that. I'm not going to give away any more about the plot, but let's just say that this system doesn't work exactly as intended. The movie feels a little more like older full moon films in terms of some of the sheer violence and nudity too. So overall, I think this does feel like a classic full moon fare. So I would love to see them continue to explore that kind of dark flavor that they're trying to do with pulp noir. However, if they're going to continue to do it via AI, I won't be along for the ride. The Blu-ray includes a number of bonus features. That part about pulp noir is one of them. So is a new episode of Video Zone focused on this film. As I always say, the movie is the main thing here, though. The rest of them are just that, bonuses. So you got to ignore the AI content. I have a real problem with it. As far as a movie, when you take that out of the context of it, the movie works pretty well. And it does feel like old school full moon. Let's see where they go forward from here. Spooky Ventures is the home for spooky content and spooky merchandise on the web. Check it out today at spookyventures.com. And remember, always keep it spooky.